On the shores of the quiet seaside town, a young woman goes for a swim and never comes back, and her death is blamed on a random shark. But as bodies begin to pile up, the town's police chief realizes something much bigger and much more dangerous was lurking in the waters. The series of events and everything surrounding this film has directly and indirectly played a part in the way we see movies today. Jaws was based on Peter Benchley's best-selling novel, which was inspired by a series of shark attacks along the New Jersey coast in 1916. Universal Pictures quickly acquired the film rights, and after a few director options fell through, a relatively unknown 26-year-old Steven Spielberg was given the job largely on the strength of his work on Duel and the Sugarland Express. Due to constant mechanical failures with the animatronic device thingy, Spielberg had to keep the shark off screen for most of the film, relying instead on subtle suggestion and implication through water ripples, ominous music and low camera angles, letting audiences imagine the terror rather than see it outright.
We never fixed the shark, but in the cutting room I was able to use so little of it and imply so much more that when you finally do see the shark, it's a little bit lethargic, and that's where the story demanded that I show more than just the dorsal fin. That was the last few minutes of the movie.
This Hitchcockian approach became one of the film's most iconic strengths. The production was initially scheduled for 55 days with a modest $4 million budget, but constant delays and technical problems pushed filming over 100 days past schedule, ultimately driving the cost up to $9 million, a serious concern for Universal at the time. However, this risk paid off beyond anyone's wildest expectations, as Jaws became the highest-grossing film of all time at that point, earning a staggering $476 million worldwide. It held that box office record until Star Wars took the throne 2 years later. It was also the first film to cross the 100 million mark in the US, and its wide release model became the blueprint for every blockbuster that followed. Jaws also received widespread critical acclaim, earning a 97% approval rating and praise for Spielberg's masterful suspense, strong performances, and John Williams' iconic haunting score, as many called it the most thrilling film of the decade. It remains one of the most influential films ever made, not just for what it accomplished, but for what it inspired.
Everybody suggested I quit after Jaws. They said, no movie will ever make this much money. And I kept saying, but don't you realize that I might make a picture that makes no money, that you might not like at all, but that might be my best picture as far as I'm concerned.
So if you're not motivated by money and success, how are you handling the fact that you've now got both?
Well, I don't have to handle it so much, as long as I can feed the dog. You know, as long as the dog eats, we're real happy.
After Jaws, Spielberg could have played it safe, doubling down on monsters or thrillers, but instead he decided to take a very different approach. If you enjoyed this clip, you can watch the full breakdown on our main channel or keep the binge going with the next clip.